All right, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Dan Bach. I'm an Amazon seller, full-time Amazon seller, actor, content creator, and mentor. I've been selling on Amazon since September of 2014. That's a long time. And I'm here today to show you all the tips and tricks I have, especially regarding retail arbitrage. That's been my main bread and butter for the last 10 years. I've done some online arbitrage as well as wholesale. But RA is just the thing that clicks most. I'm a knuckle dragger. I like tactile things and just being able to go out and experience the world. And we're going to be going to one of my favorite stores in the city of Chicago to do RA at. It is, I'm just going to give this store away, Marshall's on Michigan Avenue. For several reasons we'll go over later. But one is that it is right next to the world's largest Starbucks. And that's delicious. And anytime you can make your RA adventures a little bit more tasty and fun, that's what we're here for. So I'm going to be referencing some notes as I just kind of give you the intro. As I'll pretty much be giving you my A to Z, step-by-step, what I do pre-going to the store, while I'm at the store, and then what I do after. And just to tease you a little bit, one of my shutdown processes that I do at the end of every day where I source, I think if you can incorporate that into your arbitrage business in some way, if you haven't already, it will help you scale a lot. If you're somebody who's either brand new to Amazon or you've been sourcing for a little while and you're just having a lot of trouble scaling and figuring out how to do this full time, just this little simple process that I do every day that I'm going to share with you at the end helped me scale. It's one of a handful of things that really got me to a point where I could afford to do this full time and pursue my other dreams as an actor, content creator, and now I mentor people. So, all right, I'm just going to reference my notes here that I put together. Yeah, we already got through all that stuff. Yeah, right. So, I also want to thank my buddy Jimmy for helping me film today. And yeah, let's get into what I carry with me every day when I go to source. We'll pan down here for a second. These are all the items that I keep in my bag. In no particular order, these are all the things that I just make sure to have on me. I've got a smartphone. I have 2 Apple iPhones. I keep a wallet with cash, my IDs like driver's license, state ID if you got it, just anything, yeah, credit card, debit card, driver's license, cash. I also have my sales tax exempt. I make multiple copies of that, and I often will write down my phone number at the bottom. Sometimes that's helpful in stores, as well as sometimes I will photocopy my driver's license at the bottom of the sales tax exempt as well. Usually I have a whole bunch of them that I keep in my backpack or in my vehicle, and then I'll always have at least 2 of them on me at any given time when I'm walking around the store or mall buying stuff to resell, just in case, you know, I just like to have 2 on me. I will bring a bottle of water. That makes life a lot easier when you're driving around a lot. You just have water, snacks, keep those in the car. I will bring any store credit or store gift cards or certificates, if anything like that, I'll make sure to bring that with me. I will bring multiple or at least 1 extra battery for my phone, these like external battery chargers that you see. I'm a big fan of the old school iPhone wired headphones. They are not only better for you than the Bluetooth, but the audio quality is much better. So you can have those plugged in while listening to music, while you're sourcing, or if somebody calls you, you can continue to source while you're on the phone with them. And the audio quality is just a lot better. So I haven't and probably will not switch to the Bluetooth. Then I've got permanent marker, a couple of pens just for marking things, especially as I like close out for the day. I like to mark up the boxes of stuff just to keep things organized when I start putting them away or getting them ready to be prepped to ship. The next is a multi-tool, very handy thing to keep in your vehicle. I keep multiple, at least 2 extra charging cables. I really like the long ones that you can get on Amazon, as well as a charging block to plug into a wall if need be. And I keep some personal items. The chapstick I use somewhat frequently, and hand sanitizer I definitely recommend having. If you're eating out on the road a lot, keeping some hand sanitizer. I will also keep a little bit of like a emergency kit. I forgot to mention like toothpick and floss, again, eating on the road. But a little emergency kit with some liquid IV, some ibuprofen or aspirin, and some Band-Aids and things like that, just in case. That's all the things that I keep inside of my vehicle. So the next thing is to figure out what stores are you going to be sourcing from. And I'm just going through my notes here. Oh, I almost forgot. Again, actually is a beach cart. So this is something that I use to load up all my inventory in while I'm in the store. So like if I go to a Nike, for example, while I'm walking through the store, since they don't have carts in those stores typically, and the bags can be laborious, I will just load up a cart full of my like 30 units at Nike or whatever the limit is these days. A beach cart and extra large plastic bags. Those are super helpful as you leave the store or you're closing out your transaction at the register. You or the store employees can bag everything up into those big plastic bags, and it makes moving the inventory around and even storing it short term a lot more manageable. I've also seen other Amazon sellers use tie-down straps or ratchet straps for moving their shoes around, or large gaylord, like cardboard gaylords on dollies, like four-wheel dollies that move around. That's another item. But yeah, the next thing is to plan out what stores you're going to go to ahead of time. Fail to plan, plan to fail, as Zig Ziglar used to say. So the more information that you can get ahead of time about what stores are going to be profitable, the greater your odds of success. I almost never do a retail arbitrage sourcing day without first taking at least sometime early in the week, the night before, or the morning of, planning out what stores I might go to. And certainly I will always pull out Google Maps or Apple Maps, and I will generally pick one store that I want to hit the most, and then I will plan a route around that store. So I'll pick like a Nike outlet, for example, maximize my time there, and then I'm going to pick a couple other satellite stores or stores that are nearby that will also hit, and stores that are either on the way or on the way home, on the way there or on the way home. But usually I have like one store in mind that I for sure want to hit, and I'm trying to spend between $3,000 and $5,000 a day. Sometimes it's more than that, sometimes it's less, just depending. You can do a lot of store research by getting friendly with the store management. Sometimes they will let you into the store early or shoot you a text or a call if they have product come in. Store employees, it's relatively easy to get their phone numbers if you're just friendly. Sometimes you can bring them Starbucks or donuts or those kind of things. It's super helpful to have people on the inside helping you because you're helping them as well. So, and as well as, you know, all the other sourcing strategies that can be used for online arbitrage, for example, like reverse sourcing your competitors' storefronts. Maybe you can get product ideas from them. I often like to reference my old inventory as well to see like, okay, maybe I sold this stuff last year, maybe I could go source it this year, that kind of thing. Wherever you're getting your leads from, just use that as useful information for planning out your sourcing for that day. Just the more you plan, the more likely it is that you're going to be successful. From there, after I've kind of planned and figured out what store I'm going to go to, I will also say this, a lot of times it's super helpful to call the store ahead of time and figure out what kind of inventory maybe they have in stock in particular. Sometimes if you know the management, you can talk to them and get kind of feedback from them, confirm the sales as well. But yeah, just getting information ahead of time before you're going is going to help a lot. Then I go to the store, and that's what we're going to do now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are outside my favorite Marshalls in Chicago. There are two reasons, as I mentioned before, why I like to source retail arbitrage from this Marshalls specifically. Number one, we are in the downtown of Chicago, and we've got the Starbucks Reserve around the corner. Great place to go get a tasty treat while you're doing RA, as well as many other restaurants. If you come visit Chicago, there's tons of things you can do here, and then you can go RA here while you're here. Number two, more serious reason and more financially beneficial reason, there's a natural moat around the store. This store is not easy to get to. I'm a local, so it's worth it for me. You have to park like 2 or 3 blocks away in a parking garage typically, and then you got to haul everything that you're buying from the store to and fro. And that's after you get into the city, which requires going through a lot of traffic. So generally, there's a lot of product available in this store, whereas other Marshalls might be a little bit more scant because they're picked over more often. So let's take a look inside and go make some money. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're loose, we're ready, we're comfortable. We are in the belly of the beast. All right, we are in the shoe section. Number one thing when you first walk into Marshalls is you want to grab a cart. Why do we do this? Because two reasons. One, it's very practical. Of course, we're going to be buying a lot of stuff. Number two, just confidence, spiritual, right? Feel abundance. When you're first starting a retail arbitrage, for me, I definitely didn't have that confidence. So just go in with a positive attitude. Grab a cart. You can also bring the beach cart with you, or if you're kind of known at that store, or even like while you're here, they see that you're buying a lot of stuff. They might even bring out what's called a Gaylord. A lot of times they have these big, long cardboard boxes that they will load up the shoes for you or with you. That can be super helpful too. All right, so what I'm going to show you is what I like to call the bada bing, bada boom method for slicing and dicing a shoe section, pretty much at any shoe store that throws their inventory out, as you can see here. So how it works is we're going to start at one end and work our way towards the other end. So we'll go from top row, because I'm tall. Maybe if you're short, you start at the bottom row. But you start from the top row, left to right, or right to left, however you want to do it. And you go bada bing, bada boom. And what you're doing is you're scanning this item. You're going to scan this one and this one and this one until you find one that's profitable. Now, I've been selling a long time, so I don't necessarily have to scan everything anymore. I can tell you, like, some of these don't even have barcodes on them. Probably not worth my time. So I'm immediately just going to go for the ones that scan. And let's say I've scanned all these, boom, 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 this one's profitable. I've scanned this, I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it in my cart, like so. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop what I'm doing, and I'm going to look for every size variation of that shoe in this area before I go back to moving on. So, like an example, these are size 7 Adrian white patent. So I grab those, and I'm going to see, okay, right here, we got some more. So I'm going to throw these in the cart. And if they're really profitable, I'm going to grab every one of them. So here's a size 8. So I'll go through here, I'll grab all the different sizes. Let's see, we got another one right here. Until I've gone through and grabbed every single one that I'm able to, whether it's the variation, the different color, whatever, I'm just going to go right on through. Another example, well, basically as soon as I've exhausted all that, I'm going to come right back to this same spot where this one was, right here. After I've grabbed all of them, I'm going to go on to the next one. And then the next one, let's say this one is really profitable. So I'm going to grab all the different variations of this one. As soon as I've done that, I'm going to come right back to this spot and do the same thing. And I'm going to go all the way through this whole section just like that. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, one quick thing I want to make sure I mention. Watch your finger there. Live, ladies and gentlemen. This is live. Not quite. But the reason why I do a lot of shoes and clothes is because there is a cart rolling by, and we're just gonna go with it. No. Oh, wait. Keep going. Hold on a second. And over there, that's the Gaylord I was talking about. Sometimes they'll give you those, and you can load your shoes up in there. Anyway, I don't think I mentioned this in the last clip. The reason why I do a lot of shoes and clothes is because it's an easy way for me to spend a lot of money quickly. I look for my ASP is between $65 and $85 usually. In the winter it's higher, summertime lower. So I do a lot of shoes and clothes because as a, at most I've had like 3 employees at a time, contractors / employees, and sort of as a solopreneur type or minimal staff, I want to be able to spend my dollars very quickly so I can make the most amount of money. When I started selling in categories that had a higher ASP, I went from $15,000 a month in revenue to about 30 in a single month, some from one month to the next. So think about that while you are sourcing at a store. you want to look for the opportunities that are going to allow you to spend your money the fastest. So I go to the area of the store that's going to have the most expensive items at clearance. So like, you know, I'm looking at the luggage. I've never really done much luggage with RA, but for example, luggage can be very expensive. So if I was going to look at the luggage, I would go to that section versus like maybe socks. Socks, although can be great for another reason. I typically look for items that have either a high ASP, you can buy them in bulk, or you're getting that at a big discount. Just as a quick note, because I'm looking at socks. Socks can be great because it's an item that's consumable. People buy a lot of those. But anyways, back to my point. You want to look for opportunities to spend your money quickly. So shoes are great because, you know, you're buying even these small shoes for like 13 bucks a pop versus, you know, making like a few dollars a piece on something. So security. Right, there's all kinds of variables out here in the wild doing the RA. So I'm looking for opportunities to spend my money quickly. On a pair of shoes, I could spend anywhere from $70 to $150 and make like usually I hope to get like at least 35% ROI or closer to like 50. Versus buying my small one-off items, it's harder for me to spend my dollar. So I'm either looking for items individually that are very expensive that I can buy in bulk, or if I'm going to be looking at clothing, for example, and like just turn around for a second here, Jimmy. I'm going to look at when I look at the clothing section, I'm going to look for areas that have a lot of the same item. So like I see like 2 of those yellow shirts. I might scan those. I'm typically not as interested in clothing racks that have a lot of one-off items because it's going to be very tedious to go through all those. I want to see clothing racks that have multiples or very expensive items like big jackets, you know, whatever, because that's just going to allow me to spend my money a lot faster, and time is money. Money is time. So if I can spend my money faster, I'm going to make more of it. One more thing I should have said at the very beginning, retail arbitrage, the best and fastest way to do this, because essentially what we're doing here is building out a spreadsheet. Let me show you really quick here. I use Spotify 2 as one of my tools. So if I go in here, basically what you're going to be doing is assembling a buy list. So this is a buy list I've named after the store and its rough location plus the date. Marshall's, Michigan Avenue. As I'm going through here, I'm adding each one of the items I decide to buy to this buy list, which is essentially a spreadsheet. That's what we're trying to build here, is a really good spreadsheet. Ideally, you would walk into a store or get an email from a manager. You maybe go up to the manager and say, hey, could I get a spreadsheet with the UPC and cost of every single item in here? Just give me that spreadsheet. And maybe, you never know, if you don't ask, you don't receive, right? If asking, you should receive. If you could do that, that would be the ideal situation. That would save you all the time in the world of having to go through and scan everything. If they could just give you a spreadsheet that had all the UPCs and the cost written on there, you could take that, upload it to a tool like Nepeto or something like that, tactical arbitrage, and then that'll just tell you which items are profitable, right? That's essentially what we're trying to do here by scanning each item, is build out a spreadsheet. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do. That would be my recommendation. Just keep that in mind. You want to build that spreadsheet as fast as possible. Maybe that's having multiple people in a store. Maybe that's just being super efficient with your time. However you can get that spreadsheet put together, that's going to allow you to make the most amount of money, or just more money quicker. All right, we're going to look for some shoes here. I actually just did a little bit of scanning and we did find some stuff. So first I'm just going to show you what it is I use to source. I use the Amazon Seller app. This is the best way I find to just verify if I'm gated or something, or all else fails, because sometimes you get conflicting information from other apps. Just use the Amazon Seller app. It's also handy to have. I have the Amazon Consumer app. I do use that actually as a part of my sourcing, as well as Keepa. I would say the Amazon Seller app and Keepa, and then I use SellerAmp, but I actually use Spotify 2 more. And then I have a bunch of other apps. Nepeto, I use that sometimes too. eBay for different things. But primarily over the years I've used Spotify 2. I will use the Keepa app or the Amazon or the SellerAmp app if I need more detailed information. So when I'm scanning, the Spotify 2 app just gives like very basic information. So if I can see that an item is immediately profitable off of very basic information, let me just show you for an example. So I just scanned these cohesion 4s. All right, the sales rank is fairly high, but still workable, 330,000. And we're only paying $16 for these. So also sales tax exempt, as I mentioned, so I'm just paying 16 bucks. Unlike the rest of these suckers out here. What am I? No, I'm just kidding. So I'll just use Spotify 2 because if something, I put in $16 here, and the sale price, I'm gonna be around $44. My ROI is already 169%. I'm making 18 bucks on these little baby shoes. And most of the time you wanna be around a $15 to $20 profit on shoes because of the high return rate. And I've never really looked into the numbers for this, but I also just think this is probably true, that children probably don't complain as much when their shoes don't fit. So I'm imagining the return rate is lower. But, all right, so yes, and again, I'm using Spotify 2 because I'm a Luddite most of the time. Unless I'm gonna be spending a lot of money, I'm not gonna do as much product research. So if I find something really profitable and maybe I wanna buy a bunch of something, I will look more into the details, but maybe I'm only gonna buy 1 or 2 of these. And so if I can see just off of this initial research that it's profitable, I don't see the need to spend more time looking into it. Basically, the more money I spend, the more research I do. If I'm spending lower amount, I'm not gonna do as much research because my risk is lower. So what I will do, whether it's the Spotify 2 app or SellerAmp, once I've pulled up something and I find it interesting, actually let me show you my process a little bit here. With a different shoe that I grabbed first that led me to this. So I think the first one I grabbed was this. And again, my recommendation if you're a brand new seller is to go one by one all the way through the store. But I've been selling for a while, so I know this brand, Saucony, pretty well. It's a running shoe. So I'm immediately gonna look for these. So I see that the sales rank again is that high 313,000. Not great, but not absolutely horrible either. Amazon is on the listing, and if I bought these for $16, I would lose money, almost. I'd make about 75 cents. Probably lose money though. So this is a no-go, but because I see like, oh, there's 75 cents profit here, the sales rank is not completely abysmal, I know that I am close. And if you're close, then it means you're not that far off. Think of it like mining for gold. There's usually indicators when gold miners are in the mine that there might be close to a gold vein. You know, there's the rock changes, different things happening. So this is telling me that I've got multiple indicators that are positive with some that are bad. So overall, this shoe specifically would be a bad buy, but there's other indicators such as the sales rank isn't so bad, and I'm close to being profitable, that I might want to investigate the rest of this listing or shoes or styles that look similar to this one while I'm here at the store. So how I'm gonna start to do that is, as I'm already on this page, I'm gonna click on the image here, or I'm just basically gonna pull up the Amazon listing. And so the first thing I'm gonna look at is this set of numbers here. This is basically the range of the list price on all of these variations. Roughly speaking, sometimes it does vary a little bit, but I can see that $44.91 is about the top end of the buy box for all these different variations. So that's a good indicator, because the listing that I pulled up first was only $22 list price, which meant that I was not profitable. But Let's put in $44. Now all of a sudden we're talking maybe $18 profit margin. And there's a really high sales rank here of 313,000. That can, sales rank can go up because items are out of stock and it's just not selling. So what do I see here? All these strikes through these boxes means that these sizes are out of stock for that color. So if I were to put that shoe in stock, I would probably lower the sales rank because now people are able to find that shoe. The listing improves because there's stock on the listing. And yeah, so that first shoe was not profitable. I probably, you might be able to see maybe Amazon goes out of stock on this if you look up Keepa, which as well, you can add a Keepa link to Scoutify 2. And let's see if it pulls up. Server not responding. All right, we'll skip. All right, so next thing I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna look for other sizes, colors of that same shoe. So this one is a size 4. I think it's a, yeah, different color, or a different size, sorry. Again, this is $16 list price here at Marshall's, or that I would pay. And so the profit on it would be about $18.98. Smokin', as Jim Carrey might say. So, and we've got, how many of these here? There's 1, 2, 3 in the size 4. Again, I may grab all 3 of those, maybe not. Then we've got another color here. Let's see, baby blues. Actually, is this baby blue?
I see green. And like you're talking about the blue part?
I'm colorblind, it doesn't matter. So I'll put in these at $16. So these will also be profitable. Amazon is on the listing, but for me, if I can beat Amazon's price by like 3% or more, I'll take it. Since there are a lot here, I'm gonna actually pull out Seller Amp, which is this tool here. This one. And I'm gonna scan the barcode, and this will just give me a little bit more info. Yeah, I see Amazon's pretty consistently in stock. Sales rank used to be much better about a year ago. But again, that could be maybe Amazon was on all the listings and now Amazon's out of stock on a lot. So I would say that this particular shoe could be a pretty good opportunity to buy a lot of these different sizes or colors. Let's see you in the next clip. Let's say you want to buy these right here. You got to pull up. So the reason, even if I am using Seller Amp, for example, to do my product research, I will still use Scoutify 2, which is this app here, because it has a buy list feature, as I mentioned before. So you can input all this data, or this information about, oh, I don't know if you guys saw that. I had a discount set up in my settings of 30%. So that was affecting the ROI that I was seeing on the shoes. So my mistake, but I believe these are still profitable. So let me, now that I've noticed that, go back into my settings and clear that. And just to show that, I got my shipping rate set up at about 75 cents per pound. Sales tax is 0 and discount set at 0. Now let me get that fixed. These size 4s, $16. All right, yeah, profitability is still about $14. The ROI is close to about 88%. Still great. So let's say, just for, can I say shits and gigs? Let me show you this here. So I'm gonna put Marshalls. This bit's always been a little bit buggy. Marshalls, Michigan Avenue. Where'd it go? Yeah, anyway. Marshall, Michigan Avenue, you can put down like that. And then I've got tax rate, make sure I check the double check the date, put in quantity, whatever sales tax you're using, and then switch over to buy list, there we go. And then hit the add to buy list button. And then now, everything I buy will be here. And then you can either upload this directly from Inventory Lab through the process there, or you can email it to yourself or somebody else. All right. Next thing, since I mentioned I've been selling for a long time, I just know every store has certain brands that I really like or certain styles. So, Hey Dudes is an example that you can pick up at Marshalls a lot. Especially the ones that have these kind of neat patterns. A lot of times these can be really good. If you're watching this, you should have access to my guide called the Sourcing Bible. So it's an abridged version that I'm giving to you guys that has the general rules for how to scan RA at any store, and then the full version that I give to my one-on-one students or people that join the Dream Chaser Bootcamp. That's got about, I think it's 14 stores that I buy stuff to resell from, along with all the rules for each store, because every RA store is going to have different rules associated with it. How to talk to management, what discounts to look for, what sales to look for, what styles are popular. For example, at Marshalls, Hey Dudes is a popular style. The Saucony you saw, always look for running shoes, like high-end running shoes. Those are great. It's called the Sourcing Bible. I thought about calling it the Sourcing Quran or maybe the Sourcing Torah, but it just doesn't have the same ring to it. So let me show you guys something I like to call a gamble. Sometimes you'll come across a product listing or a shoe or some product that you're scanning that you're just like, what the heck, we'll throw it in the pot, and if it makes money, great. Because it's just like there's a lot of unknowns. So let me show you a quick example of that. Vans. I know I've heard a lot of hubbub about selling Vans lately, but just for example, I pulled this one up on Spotify too. Is what it looks like. There's no sales rank, and it's out of stock. So what I always do is I just double check the Amazon listing, and typically what I want to see is a lot of reviews. If I can see that the item has a lot of reviews, even if the sales rank is missing, that means that if I put this in stock, that it may sell very well if there's a lot of reviews or there's a history of a lot of volume on here. What's interesting about this one is I pulled it up on SellerAmp as well, and SellerAmp is saying that there's 150 reviews. So let me pull up the Amazon listing here and let's see what it says. Yeah, same thing. So, and then we look at the Keep It chart. This happens to shoes, clothing items a lot. I'm trying to get this out of the way. The item had a super low sales rank, relatively speaking, about 49,000 a few years ago. And then you see this like giant jump right here. So what this means is that typically this item is an individual listing of that specific style, color and size. And it's this child ASIN was orphaned from the parent ASIN. So this listing would have been a part of a much larger listing, and that's probably the listing that had the sales rank of like 48,000, and then it was separated or orphaned, and it shot up to this sales rank where it's at now, and eventually went out of stock. So, all right, we are over the target on another product. Let me show you. But I think that's what they used to say in the Air Force, or maybe still do, when they're close to hitting the target. Our target, of course, is finding profitable products. And again, when you're close, you're close. So keep going. So again, I'm just actually going to use Scud Up by 2. And like I said, these Hey Dudes with these kind of Native American styles, like, look at me. I'm wearing it right now. So, very popular. As you can see, the sales rank is smoking. We're at 26,000. And these are selling here for $34.99. All right, so the ROI is not great. I probably would not buy these if I'm going to be listing them at the price they're currently going for. But I could pull a Keepa. Hope I get a quick response here. Not much great data. Or I could pull into SellerAmp. And just use that more information there. But anyway, point is that we're close. So I would keep looking at the other sizes here. Like so, this particular size is not profitable at a list price of $61.49. But if I pull up the actual Amazon listing, we've got 80. Some of these are selling for 85 bucks. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click through. $72. So if I sold a size, one of these at 72. Let's see. I'd be at a decent ROI. So that's the size 8. So what I would do is I would look for the size 8 in here and see if I can find that. As well as check these out of stock ones. You see like size 7, 6, 9.5 are all out of stock. I can look at the size 10. Okay, that price isn't that great. 85 on the size 11 though. Dang. And then this is also where you can pull in SellerAmp or Keepa to look at individual variations. So I got a variation checker here in SellerAmp. Might take a second. Basically, it's going to tell me which color and size is going to be the best seller on this particular listing. That's how you do it. Basically, you just keep stacking things in your cart like that. That's it. Like I said, if you find one product, then you go looking throughout the whole store for the rest of that product. You can even ask store employees or store managers if they have more in back. Ask them if they'll give you a discount if you're behind so much. That's it. Okay, so let's say you've done all your scanning and you think you found pretty much everything that's going to be profitable in the store. I like to do what's kind of like one final hot lap, or just lap through the store, looking for things that stick out to me that might be interesting, that might have particular styles, like this sort of a Native American style, or just whatever, like leopard print. People love leopard print, or things that are hot pink. Whatever it is, I look for things that stick out and see, maybe there's something there that I can scan that's profitable. Then the process for going up to the register is very patiently getting in line with everybody else, or if you've already talked to the management ahead of time, maybe they have products stocked there back for you, or they have a register ready for you. You want to make sure you have your sales tax exempt ready to go, as well as your photo ID, your card, and yeah, just be a kind, have fun with the person that you're up there with. Take an improv class. I love joking with people, and the more you can kind of get to know people, because you're going to be coming back here regularly, they're going to be nice to you. They're going to bring carts out for you, or racks. Like, this really does happen. They're going to let you into the stock room. Be a kind, generous person with them, and very patient, and follow the rules. Do not ever be dishonest with people. They will pick up on that immediately. Do not be dishonest with Amazon. You want to make sure that you keep good copies of your receipts. So as soon as you get the receipt, take that home, and you're going to scan it into your computer, upload it to like Google Drive or iCloud. So if you ever get an inauthentic complaint, also point to note, if you're sourcing from places like Marshall's, your receipt is going to have, easy to grab here. Your receipt is going to have this item number on it. This like 7170, whether it's shoes, grocery items that you're buying. Receipt's going to have that on it. So what you need to do is you need to take a picture of the item, and then you got to take a picture of the item number. So this might be a second or a third picture, And then you also have to find the UPC barcode that you scanned as well. And once you got all three of those pictures, that's going to protect you, because the receipt does not typically have, or it often doesn't have, the UPC or a good product description that will stand up to help you defend you in the event you get an inauthentic complaint or a Section 3. So make sure you take good product photos. But yeah, once you get up to the register, you can get your beach card out, or whatever Gaylord or boxes you're using to haul everything back to your vehicle. Bag everything up in the plastic bags. The employees can often help you with that. And that's it for now. Okay, so let's say you've gone through, you've paid for everything, and now you're in your vehicle or you're on your way home. One of the things that I highly recommend that you do is, as soon as your buy list is ready, I've only got one item in here right now, but as soon as your buy list is ready to go, you upload this to Inventory Lab. Whether you're doing FBM or FBA, you can leave it inactive if you want, but that's just my recommendation. Sometimes the uploads between Inventory Lab and Amazon are not always the fastest, so trying to upload a buy list the same time that you're trying to ship it can often lead to delays or having issues that you can mitigate just by uploading the buy list ahead of time. And then once I get home, I'll show you the wind down process, or the review process that I conduct after every sourcing trip, as well as like what I use to scan receipts and all that. All right, shows what I know. The Starbucks Reserve, it's closed. On to another place. Welcome back to my lair, ladies and gentlemen. All right, this is my close down process on from a day of sourcing. So first things first, receipts. I use an Epson ES60W. These are like $150, but they can scan really long receipts and turn them into searchable PDFs. Highly valuable when you get a Section 3 or IP complaint or whatever issues. These things work great. I save the receipt with the store name and date, and then I put that in a folder for the month. And then that all gets uploaded to the cloud and saved there if I ever have an issue. I always list my product like the same day or about a day or so after I make the purchase, so I can know that, okay, if this was listed on April 1st, I probably bought it either on the 1st or the 31st of the previous month. So, all right, that's what I do with this stuff. But what I wanted to show you is spreadsheets. I think spreadsheets, a good Amazon business lives and dies by spreadsheets, and your ability to scale is dictated by how well you can handle spreadsheets. And I'm just going to show you really quick 2 examples of spreadsheets that I use in my business. One, you'll have to go watch. There's like an instructional video that's attached to it. You can go watch the whole thing yourself. Very important for bookkeeping. But the second one is just more strictly associated with sourcing. And yeah, this is a tool that I put together and kind of extrapolated from training from a half marathon. I learned how to train for a half marathon with a training plan from a coach. And I thought, man, that training plan worked really well. Maybe there's a way that I can apply this to sourcing for my Amazon business. And so I did that, and then it worked really well. I would say one of the things that able to help me grow my business exponentially. And I also found out that this is very close to something that James Clear described, who is the author of the now famous book, Atomic Habits. So let me show you. Okay, this is the first spreadsheet I described that requires its own separate video. There is a video with instructions here for the template. This is a balance sheet. A good business has a balance sheet, a profit and loss statement, and a budget. And it runs on those 3 things. If you don't know what any of those three things are, you can go watch that video. But I would say the easiest one to do is a balance sheet. And this is the simplest way to tell if you are profitable or not, roughly speaking. So if you want to really understand your numbers, I would say this is a good stepping stone. You can take this sheet and watch the instructions and learn how to use it. There you go. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I could say a lot more about that, but I'm not going to. So this is what I like to call like a goal tracker or a sourcing calendar. Originally, I used to use these big blue wall calendars behind me. But the problem with those is although it's very tactile and I like the writing process and it helps me think, it's harder to save that data. It adds extra steps. So anyways, I developed this just spreadsheet, and let me lay out kind of some of the things here. And again, James Clear describes this really well. Let's start with that. So he says the process for getting better. Decide what you want to achieve, try different ways of achieving it until you find one that works for you. Do more of what works, do less of what doesn't. Don't stop until it stops working. Repeat. It is both this simple and this hard. So I only found this quote like a month ago, and I've been doing this sheet for years, but it fits perfectly. So what we're working on here is process multiplied by time equals outcome. The process that we are tracking is buying stuff from stores, and then that's done over a period of a day or multiple days, and then we're trying to achieve a specific outcome. So in this case, we've set a spend goal this is like for a beginner. Maybe you want to spend $500 on inventory that has an ROI of 50%. So you've got an ROI of $250 here. Now, if you take that 500 and then split it across 30 or 31 days, it turns into about 17 bucks. This is automated from the rest of the sheet on the other page. But all right, so what is the process? Because we're trying to achieve a specific outcome. Spend $500 and make $250 profit. And then we're also going to be tracking this larger goal here. And a good thing to keep in mind, why it's good to break this up into individual days. Let's say you were trying to spend, instead of $500, you're trying to spend $50,000. That it can be a tough nut to crack. But if you break it up into 30 days, which is what I did here for the $500, 500 divided by 30 or 31 is about $17. So 50,000, what would that be, like $1,700 or something like that to spend every day? A lot more achievable. So how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so let me give you an example of how this applies very practically. Because again, we want to keep doing the things that worked, stop doing the things that don't work, and then just tracking, what are we doing every day that we can control? I can control going to these stores. That's my process. That's P. I put it in green because it's your blood, sweat, and tears, and the green is the money you get out of it. So, all right, let me grab this one. I think this would be good. So for some reason I don't have Adidas entered in here, but let's put that there. So let's say the store I went to that day was Adidas. Some of you might be restricted on Adidas, whatever. Put whatever store you want in there. But for this example, I went to Adidas. I spent $2,022, and I said for good, Adidas is good to go for bulk buying, and ASICS is awesome as always. So this is just noting that those stores were good, that the specific stores are good hits for me. So keep that in mind. I'll keep going back to those stores. What did not go well? I ran out of cash, which is why I spent the first half of the day doing nothing, unfortunately. So yeah, that's a problem for an Amazon business, running out of money. But it's a problem that you can work on. Now, you'll see I still didn't have any money on the 28th, but on the 29th, oh, what happened here? Let's see. Store employee at Timberland is a godsend. Always call ahead to check if blank is at Columbia. That's the store manager. Picked up a few North Face items to test. Got out on another FBA shipment today. Also, MX apparently decided to up my credit limit, which is why I was able to purchase stuff today. So there you go. That's something that worked really well. And I was able to fix that problem that I noted here from 2 days prior, and boom, I was able to spend that much money. And then here's another more practical problem. I need to start packing a lunch. The temptation to eat unhealthy is too much. You can write off your business meals, but it's just like a little simple thing. This little simple stuff does add up. Packing a lunch and spending if you're not packing a lunch, you're spending time buying it. Whereas if you packed a lunch, it's a more efficient time-wise a lot of the times. Here's another example of something that seems innocuous that I keep notes of. The bathroom situation at certain stores is horrendous. If you're wasting time looking for a bathroom, you're wasting money. So little things like that go a long way. So anyway, that is my approach to getting better. Using a chart like this, I was able to go from $32,000 a month in revenue to like $150K in less than 4 months. And it really is that simple, just as James Clear laid it out right here. So decide what works, what you want to achieve, so you got your goal over here. Try different ways of achieving it. What worked, what didn't work. Do more of what works, do less of what doesn't. Don't stop until it stops working. Repeat. It is both this simple and this hard. I hope you have enjoyed this. It was fun to make this video and share this knowledge, and I look forward to talking to you guys more.